Hi guys, I'm EVM and welcome back to the channel. Now, today I want to talk about plug-in hybrids and whether or not they are still relevant. This is very much a divisive subject in the EV world. Some people think they should be banned in terms of anything with a petrol engine in anyway. Should be banned today, right now, no more, should be allowed to be sold. And some people think they're still very much useful and an only option for some if you want an electrified car. Please excuse the heavy rain, hopefully it won't cause too much background noise. One of these days I hope I will do a video and I don't mention the weather. Anyway, what I'm going to say is plug-in hybrids, for me personally, have a purpose still. In 2020, I believe PHEVs are still a viable option, or rather an only option for some, and they shouldn't be ignored as if pretending they don't exist. That is my personal opinion, and that's the beauty about the internet. You can have a different opinion and still get on with people, can't you? I've recently done a few PHEV reviews in the channel, and one person, he was quite angry. He literally said, I'm going to unsubscribe. You're putting plug-in hybrids on. I don't like this. I'm just going to unsubscribe. Now, logically, you could just not watch those videos and just watch the full BEV ones. But he unsubscribed because of a moral objection to me putting them on the channel. And that's what I mean. It's a very divisive subject. Some people get really angry almost and getting too many questions about this. What do you think of PHEVs, yes or no? To ignore it any longer. So this is my opinion on it. Are PHEVs still relevant? I think they are. Now, of course, what I have to do now is quantify what I've just said and the reasons as to why I think they are still relevant. Now, don't get me wrong, manufacturers are pushing them far too hard, especially hybrids or self-charging hybrids. They've been pushed as a viable alternative to an electric vehicle that's better, more efficient and more useful. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So there are clearly things which need to change in the industry, and development of them is something which I think should have stopped by now. There should be no new development of a plug-in hybrid car, or even any hybrid for that matter. In 10 years, possibly 15, depending on what the government decide, petrol engines in any form will be banned from new car sales. So why would you develop something that could take maybe 5 years to actually hit the market that has only got a shelf life of maybe 5 years? It seems a bit odd. So yeah, ultimately, I do agree PHEVs are on the way out. What I'm going to do now is effectively put one question across, which for me effectively answers this question outright. What would you say to those that couldn't own an electric vehicle right now for a myriad of reasons, and I will come back to that in a second. But unless you think that 100% of the driving population can own a full electric vehicle today, what would you suggest those people that can't own a BEV do right now? What should they buy? Should they buy a petrol engine, a diesel engine, or maybe a PHEV, the closest thing to a full electric vehicle that anybody in theory can own? Yeah, some people will buy them and not use them properly. That's for a different topic. But ultimately, there's a substantial percentage of the driving population out there of people who buy new cars who can't, even if they really, really wanted to, own a full electric vehicle. Right, so now what I'm going to do is give you three examples of people I know, even related to. So I'm not cherry picking, like the best examples or obscure examples from the internet. These are people I know. No matter what they do, they couldn't own an electric vehicle. Let's start off with an example I've used just a few weeks ago, and that's my parents. They live in a flat. They have off-road parking, but it's nowhere near their flat, and therefore they cannot charge at home. It's just not possible. Believe me, I've looked into it. So that's not unusual. There are quite a lot of people out there that can't charge at home. So that means they have to rely on a charging network to own a full electric vehicle. The town they live in, again, I've used this example before, but the town they live in has, according to the last census, 51,000 people living in it. Obviously, only a percentage of those won't be able to charge at home. But in that town, there is, should I say, one charger. One charger. That's a fast charger. It's not even a rapid charger. One fast charger for a town of 51,000 people. And that's obviously excluding the people like myself who will go and visit this town and use the charging network. So you've got, again, it could be 10, 15,000 people that can't charge at home having to use a fast charger, which you're going to spend a minimum of 4 hours on a week, bare minimum. The minute that goes offline for more than a few days, they're screwed. They can't charge their car without driving what I think is about a 28-mile round trip to the nearest rapid charger. For anyone to say that that's a plausible thing to do is, again, woo! So let me move on to another example. Let's go at the other end now. We've gone to the retired people. Let's go to a young person. This is someone that I know, and he bought the cheapest car to insure he could find. So not the cheapest car, as in the cost of it, but the cheapest car to insure. Even now, even though he does have no claims bonus, he's not a new driver, he's paying an eye-watering £1,300, I think it is. £1,300 for a year's insurance. We, just for a laugh, thought we'd get a quote for the Tesla that I just bought. And that was 10 grand. But whilst we were there, I said, well, out of curiosity, let's see what we can get you. Can we get you into an EV? Is that doable? Just purely from an insurance point of view. The cheapest electric vehicle to insure that we found, which I believe was a 2014 Renault Zoe, so one of the cheapest EVs you can buy, was £2,700. So it cost him, what, £1,400 more to insure that car for 1 year. That alone is a reason why he says it's just not going to happen. He can't charge at home either. He'd have to rely on the public charging infrastructure, which is flaky at best. But ultimately, the affordability is off the scale. Not only can he not afford the car itself, but he can't afford the insurance on it. That leads me to the other point. Right now, I've got Auto Trader right in front of me, and I'm looking at every electric vehicle on sale in the whole of the country, the whole of the UK, and I've put it so it's on the cheapest price first. The cheapest full electric vehicle you can buy is a Nissan Leaf from 2012, and that costs just shy of £5,000. Anyone would have to be classified as delusional if they say that the whole country, the whole of the UK, especially given the financial crap hole that we're in right now and the amount of people that are about to lose their jobs if they haven't already, anyone that says, well, if you can, that's your entry level electric, £5,000 cheap. No, it's not. Think back to when you were 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, whatever, a student, you just lost your job, whatever. If someone said to you, well, why don't you buy a £5,000 car? You'd say, well, no, I can't afford it. Saying to people, well, you can get a loan that's quite cheap, that's financially very irresponsible. But let me give you the last specific example. Someone that used to live just opposite myself. He is a tree surgeon. He currently, last I saw anyway, has one of those, it was a brand new, very nice, a double cab kind of big pickup, like a Toyota Hilux or something to that effect. I can't remember the exact model, but basically a really big luxurious pickup truck, because he has to tow an awful lot of stuff, and he has to use that as his personal transportation for his family as well, which is presumably why he got the double cab. It fits his business and his lifestyle. There is no electric car on the market at all. It does not exist that could tow what he needs to tow. Even a Tesla Model X, which would be ridiculous to say he should get anywhere because it's, 70 odd grand upwards. Even a Tesla Model X will not tow that much weight. Good God, will you stop raining? I think I'll wait for this cloud burst to stop. So we get back to that point of where we say, okay, can we now agree that not everybody can own a full electric vehicle for a myriad of reasons? A FEV, presumably, would be the next best thing. That's why I'm still doing FEVs. I think those people should have as much help as those buying a BEV. And like I said, the manufacturers really need to stop pushing it. In terms of petrol engine technology, there's no point in developing stuff anymore. We've hit that peak now. Might as well put all that R&D into battery electric vehicles, making them cheaper, more affordable, lighter, all that sort of stuff, bigger range. So there are definitely industry things that need changing, and I can understand the moral objection to FEVs, but for me that's just excluding people rather than admitting that at the moment in the real world they have a purpose. Of course, there's the environmental aspect of it all. That's one thing which crops up an awful lot on Twitter. We need to ban the petrol engine tomorrow for environmental reasons, to stop the little kiddies breathing in the fumes. And I agree, it's a very bad thing. It needs addressing. But generally the people that are saying that are people that already have an electric vehicle, that can easily own one, like myself. Saying to somebody who's just got no money or cannot genuinely get a battery electric vehicle for a myriad of reasons, that you're going to have to give up your only means of transport for the environment. I don't like that. I don't like that sort of green shaming thing. I mean, let's face it, electric cars aren't good for the environment. They're better than petrol and diesel, and we can power them with renewable energy. Realistically, what we should be doing is getting everybody out of personal transportation and into public transport and walking and cycling. You know, you never know why somebody's had to choose a plug-in hybrid as an example. They might be a vegan that volunteers all their spare time for environmental causes, but they have no choice but to buy a plug-in hybrid at the moment, or something. So I don't agree with that sort of having to go at people due to the car they've bought. It's not quite right for me. There's better ways to explain to people what we need to do and why. And an EV is a much better option, environmentally speaking. But at the end of the day, it's the lesser of two evils. It's not the solution that ultimately the world demands, I guess. So we can all do our bit for the environment, but ultimately we're all trying to keep our lifestyle, aren't we? To keep going. If we really, truly put the environment as our priority in life, we would be walking everywhere, cycling everywhere, we would be getting public transport. But we all know public transport isn't good enough for that. There literally is no public transport once it gets dark here where I live. My wife works late all the time, through the night even. There's no public transport, none at all. No trains, no buses. The industry we can have a go at, absolutely. They need to stop pushing petrol, diesel, whatever, and start pushing BEVs. Eventually, everyone will be able to get a BEV because it will be affordable, it'll be cheap, the used market will be mature. At the moment, it's not. As I said, $5,000 for the cheapest electric vehicle is not affordable to the whole population, not even close to it. It's just a fact. We're going to have to put up with PHEVs, and that's the whole point of this video, coming back to it. We're going to have to put up with PHEVs for a few years longer yet. So why not help people to get into the best PHEV, maybe the most efficient, the one that does it in the best way. So if you are looking into a PHEV and you can plug it in, you can charge at home, I would absolutely recommend you skip and just go straight to the battery electric vehicle. Seriously, if you can do most of your journeys in a 20-30 mile PHEV on electric only, then getting an EV that can do 150 miles should be a doddle. If you don't agree, that's fine. That's fine. Please try and change my opinion. I'm open to changing it. I might have missed something obvious. I know a few people out there think of them as a big compromise. You know, you've got battery and petrol. There's two things to go wrong rather than one. They're too complicated, they're a lot heavier. But at the end of the day, if used properly, they can be more efficient, and at least they can run on EV only. It's a tough one. They exist as like a methadone to get people off petrol. You know, that's what I look at as PHEVs. It's like a treatment to wean people off. It's a nicotine patch. I guess there's a reason why people have nicotine patches and help to quit smoking rather than just telling everybody you're going to have to go cold turkey right now. And that's effectively what we've got petrol engines. We have to wean people off it. Right, that's it guys, thank you very much. Just so you know, there are 2, maybe hopefully 3 full electric vehicles coming in November, certainly into December anyway, and no PHEVs at the moment. So you don't have to worry about any more PHEVs being on the channel. But don't get me wrong, if a good plug-in hybrid gets offered to me, I will be taking it. So anywho, thanks for watching, see you soon.